Next question. What's the best way to handle awful random people? Say, a bunch of intimidating thugs on a bus or a violent, scary drunk person.
Well, and there's even more awful random people out there that you might need to look out for. I think this is obviously you got people that are appointed criminals that are coming after you. You got terrorists that might be coming after you, or just trying to do random acts of mass violence. So those are a particular type. I think that this is a question directed for more of something that could easily happen to people, random, right? Yeah. Random people that are being jerks, or thugs, or people that are drunk or high or whatever else. Okay, so obviously, what do we want to do? We want to be prepared. So to start with, you want to be in really good physical condition. So that means you want to work out. You want to be ready to handle yourself physically. You want to know how to fight. That means you need to train jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling. If you're in a high crime area or you're in a high threat area and you think this stuff is really going to happen out there, then guess what? You need to get a firearm. You need to learn how to shoot a firearm. You need to train with the firearm. You need to understand the ramifications of utilizing a firearm, and then you need to carry it so you can protect yourself. And those same things go if you decide you're going to carry any kind of weapon, whether it's pepper spray or a mace or an asp or a knife, anything that you're going to carry, you better know what you're doing. You need to prepare with it. So that's what you need to do to be prepared. Okay, that's what. And I've said this before. I said it on the Sam Harris podcast. If you do these things, if you work on your physical condition, if you work on your fighting, if you work on your shooting, if you work on your weapon skills, and you never have to use them, great. I will still say it has not been wasted time. It has been time that has made you a better person. It's imposed discipline on you. It's gotten you better physical conditioning. It's just good for you. Mm-hmm. So regardless, you should be training in these type of situations. Now, once you get to this type of situation, first of all, how did you get there? Because we need to have situational awareness, right? How are you not paying attention to what's going on around you? You need to pay attention to what's going on around you. And then you watch for these scenarios that could unfold and you avoid them, period. So how are you getting stuck on a bus with a bunch of maniacs, right? There's something, when they got on, you got off. That's real simple, right? Or you go to get on and you see these knuckleheads, you walk right back off. I mean, that's pretty easy to handle. Oh, there's a bunch of knuckleheads walking down the street towards you? Cool, cross the street, walk down the other side. Situational awareness. Oh, you hear them coming up behind you? Cool, step off, cross the street, avoid. We want to have situational awareness. That should solve 99% of your problems.
Agree.
Is being aware of your surroundings, understanding your situation, planning. What about just simple planning? Like, where are you going? When are you going to come home? You know, if you took a subway into the city at night and you know you're going to be coming home late at night and you're alone, and you are suspect of what's happening, maybe you get an Uber instead of riding the subway. It's just planning that comes into play as well to avoid these situations. Now, if you do get caught in these situations, here's a couple recommendations. Okay, my number one is to kind of do your best to detach from the scenario, right? So you got, let's say you're on a bus and there's a bunch of people acting crazy and they jumped on right after you got on and you couldn't get off in time. So now you're on the bus with them. I want you to detach from them. So that means you're not looking at them. You're not staring at them. You're not being all intimidated. You want to just detach. Just do what you would normally do. You know, everyone carries a phone these days. Break out your phone, start looking at your phone, pull out your paper, start looking at your paper, study. If you don't have either one of those two, you know, look outside, look at the passing. Just don't enter their world. Don't become a part of their thing that they have going on. Because what they want you to do is they want you to make eye contact. Yeah, what they want you to do is glance over at them. What they want you to do is enter their world. Because a lot of times these knuckleheads, they're in their own world. And you actually have to penetrate their world. if you want to get in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remain. I'm not going to cower though. There's a difference, okay? Because if you give the impression of you're just like cowering and scared, well then that's entering their world, and they're going to recognize that. But if you're just, hey, sitting here just doing what you'd normally do, and it's not a big deal. You do this all the time. You don't care about them. Don't care about me. Leave me alone. That's where I'm going. Now, if for whatever reason I make some kind of eye contact, right? Now I made the eye contact. I've entered their world. I'm going to go ahead and give them just a little head nod. Just a little, just a little regular head nod, like I would do with you if I saw you on the street. Hey, just a little respectful little head nod, and then I'm going to go right back to what I was doing. I'm going to go right back out of their world. I acknowledge their world. I'm not going to give them I'm not going to look scared, but I'm not going to look aggressive. I'm just going to be respectful. Hey, little head nod, hope you're having a good night.
It's good.
And then go back to your business. Again, I just want to detach from them. That's my attitude, is I want to detach from them. And this avoids them saying, like if they're looking at you and you don't look back, or they're just like bearing down on you. Hey, what do hey, why are you ignoring me or whatever? Are you too cool for me or something like that? So sometimes you get, look, little head nod. It's all good. If they do start, now see, I'm escalating this. So they're escalating this. So now if they do start to escalate this thing in like, what are you looking at? Or one of those things. It's just, again, what you're trying to do is you're trying to de-escalate without appearing vulnerable. So maybe it's just, hey, no issue here. Just something simple like that. No, I'm good. Like, what are you doing? Just riding the bus home. You know what I mean? Just real matter of fact. Just didn't go try and get back. So you might want to just even try and connect a little connection instead of I'm trying to go home, because that might piss some people off because they don't have a home, or their home is a bad place. So what might be better than saying that is, I just got done with work. Now you're just a working man, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, you might be dealing with someone that doesn't have a job or lost their job. Right. So I'm saying you're not going to come up with a great. But my point here is just you're just going to try and make simple, non-confrontational statements that don't give them anything to grab onto, because that's what they want. They want something. They just want something to grab onto. That's what they're looking for. So you don't want to let that happen. Now, things can still continue to escalate. You get someone that's determined to be a jerk, or determined to be hostile, or determined to be aggressive. Now, I'll tell you that if you train and you work out and you do jiu-jitsu and you have skills, people know it. People that are belligerents generally can tell. Mm-hmm. Even in a drunken state, when you square off with someone or you look at someone and they have an attitude of like, look, I do this all the time. I'm good. You want to fight? I'm here. Not saying that, but just a look. Right. And people can tell. Yeah. If they're real troublemakers, they can tell. Now, sometimes that's not a good thing, because that means they're going to do the challenge, So you got to watch out for that. So
I think that's right. Even though on the internet it might seem like it's telling a different story. It's like, oh, guy confronts the wrong guy. Guy, street thug confronts jujitsu master or something. Yep. And then it shows that they actually fought. So it kind of seems like, oh, no, they don't know, obviously, out there.
No,
but that's rare, man. And that's why it makes the internet. Yeah. So it's rare. Typically, yeah.
And this is no guarantee. But I'm just saying, I could tell, even before I started doing jiu-jitsu, I could tell if somebody was ready to rumble.
I have acted like I was ready to rumble, no fight training, to a guy who was belligerent to me directly.
Right.
Terry was there. We were working. And all I did was act like I knew.
Yeah.
I didn't know, by the way. Mm-hmm. Act like I knew. And in front of everybody, the guy was like, oh, hey, I'm sorry, man. It's my bad. Drunk guy, belligerent, a little bit bigger than me too. And he just said, but I was ready to do the best fighting I could, because it was kind of go time at that point.
Yeah.
He was like, the kind of guy where he's talking, he's like, yeah, man, I'm from Chicago, and he's like rubbing against me in my face, kind. Mm-hmm. Not like I want to fight you, but just like almost like a dog would, just and rubbing against me. And then whatever, I made like, okay, we're about to fight. Took on my jacket like real quick or whatever. And And it was like, all right, like just go, just like how you're saying though, just real matter of fact,
real calm, real matter of fact.
Yeah.
Like you do this all the time.
Yep. And the thing, I understand that it is on right now. Understand? And then the guy, and he surprisingly,
it's
was
not
like,
surprising.
Hey, my bad, bro, my bad, in front of everybody though.
It's not surprising because people that act like that are weak and they're insecure and they're acting on that. And so when somebody stands up to them and they look at him and think, this guy might actually know how to fight.
Yeah.
Then that's what happens. And by the way, when you do train all the time, you do know how to fight. And then it is matter of fact. You're like, yeah, I'll fight you. Yeah, hold on.
That's the best feeling in the world.
It's a good feeling to know that you can handle yourself.
Yep.
Now, okay, so now this continues to escalate, and you just try and keep your distance from people. You don't want to let them get close. You don't know they got a knife. You don't know what kind of disease they got. You just want to keep away from them.
Yeah.
But eventually, you might not be able to back up anymore. You might not be able to keep any distance. Watch their hands. Keep as much distance as you can. Eventually, you got to put your hands up in kind of a non-confrontational way to protect your face, to protect the sucker punch that's coming. You put your hands up just in a non-confrontational way, up around your head, and continue to de-escalate. Hey, man, I'm not here. Don't want to have any problems. I'm not looking for an issue. I don't know what your issue is, but I don't have any issue with you. I'm just trying to head home from work. One of those things. And finally, if you get to a point where you have no choice, well, then you utilize the skills that you have. You hit hard, hit fast. You don't stop hitting until the threat is neutralized. And then you get away. And that's, in order to be able to do that, go to step one, prepare.
Yeah, that's the 99% of situations will be avoided if you're just aware.
Most important thing.
Man,
that's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. So true.
Yeah, we would much rather have you do that because any of these situations, I could go out, I'm pretty well prepared for anything. I could go out tonight and have some guy square off with me, and as I'm getting ready to fight him, his buddy cracks me in the head with a bottle and kills me. Yeah. That could happen tonight.
Yeah.
That could happen at a restaurant tonight. That could happen.
Yeah.
So what am I going to try and do? I'm going to try to avoid it. The minute you square off with somebody, you're now a target for all his friends. By the way, I've been in some bar fights where the idiot that is being belligerent doesn't have the common sense or doesn't have the sense that he's surrounded by my friends.
Yeah.
And you're just thinking you're doomed.
Yeah.
So luckily, the guys that I hang out with are pretty honorable people that aren't just going to, crush somebody's skull. But you don't always that's no guarantee. That's no guarantee. There's murders every day in America.
Yeah, man.
And they're not planned, all of them. Seldom are they planned.
This guy on Facebook, I want to say, I think I always get confused with the name because like a lot of people will be like, "Hey, Echoes," and ask me questions in regards to this podcast. So
as opposed to the other podcast? Oh, this podcast.
But I don't want to be like, okay, he asked me, but no, it was,
Yeah.
Anyway, so a guy asked me, like, the scenario was he was at a bar or party or something, and guys were being disrespectful to him and his wife or her girlfriend or something. And then he's like, I know the high road. I know the right thing to do, quote unquote, is to be done with it, to leave the situation. But when you leave, you feel like a little, like you wussed out. And that's a really powerful feeling that you don't want. So like, what do you do, man? How do you reconcile it? Or should I fight? Or under certain circumstances, should I just fight for the honor kind of thing? Like, what's the thing? And so I've always really looked at it this way, especially if you're kind of like, if you have mental kind of control over the situation where you can be like, okay, am I going to fight this guy or what? So when you choose to engage, when you want to fight the guy, you're going to say, you know what? You said the wrong thing to me and I'm going to square off or to my wife or whatever, So I'm going to choose to square off. Now, what you did is you took on all the potential results of that. You took all that on. Even if you win the fight, you get arrested, like everything, as opposed to taking on all the potential results, probable, that come with not engaging, which include going home safe, your wife safe, everybody safe, wake up tomorrow just like you would the other day, and then compare that to jail. I'm injured in some way. I can't, I can function less tomorrow if I even make it home tomorrow. Death, all this stuff. When you kind of consider the outcomes that you want, And the reason you're going to make one decision over the other, it comes real clear, even though at the time it's so powerful, because you're like, oh man, I don't want to wuss out in front of everybody, or my wife, it's my honor in front of my wife. But your wife wants you to leave. Your wife doesn't want you to be like, hey, yeah, my husband got in a bar fight. Woohoo. Like, I'm so proud of him, No, your kids are like, I'm glad you're home, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not in the hospital.
That's another thing that comes with, I think, with training all the time is we all know where we stand.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if there's a person that's going to beat me in a bar fight, I know him. Like, it's a famous fighter. It's a famous jiu-jitsu player. It's someone that is a known public figure that is known for fighting. That's like, who's going to give, if it's a civilian that doesn't train, I mean, they're not going to stand a chance. Yeah. Now, if four of their friends jump in, of course, you're going to have some issues.
Well,
but yes, the best thing to do is avoid. But does your wife, when your wife knows that you train every day, that you get after it every day, that you're physically fit, physically strong, and knows that you could destroy that person, does she look down on you when you walk out of there? No, she's like, well, I'm glad I married an actual man instead of an idiot.
Right.
And it's not that big of a deal. Like, hey, bro, if you want to fight, here, come to this gym. I'll be there tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
we'll go. But I'm not going to fight out here and get arrested by and sued by you after I put you to sleep, and then I make it so you can't use your arms anymore. Yeah. Forever.
Yeah. And even that, I mean, really, let's really admit it. Even doing that, like, hey, you want to fight? I do want to fight you. Right. But I'm a smart fighter. So come to my gym. Even that's a little boy move. Yeah, that's true. Exactly. As far as moves go. Although, hey, look, if someone does that and posts it on the internet or something like that, or come on, let's face it, we all want to see that. A part of us wants to see that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you see the bully get beat up. I guess. That's pretty common.
But really, at the end of the day, that's not the decision. The decision isn't.
You're right, because it goes back to what I said, that earlier question. If you're secure in your manhood, then it's not that big of a deal to go, dude, you're drunk, carry on. I'm out of here with my wife. We're going to go back to our house and carry on with our lives like normal people. Yeah. You can find another person to get in a drunk fight with and end up in jail later.
Let me ask you this. You can be honest. Even as a full-grown, secure man, if you found yourself in that scenario and you're like, no, me and my wife, we're going to go home. There's still a small party.
Of course.
Like, I wish I would have
Well, especially when you enjoy fighting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When fighting is fun. And actually, one of the guys at the gym who's brown belt Mike, he doesn't train much when you're there. Anyways, Mike.
I train with him,
Yeah, dude, he
usually goes in the morning.
Yeah, he's usually there. But anyways, he had somebody like say something to... No, somebody like smacked his girlfriend's ass. Like what? Like he brought his girlfriend into the bar.
Yeah.
And he does Muay Thai, of course, and he's jiu-jitsu player. I mean, he's a badass dude. Mm-hmm. He walks in the bar, and this guy just straight up, just bam, slaps his girlfriend's ass. And he like turned around, boom, 1-2 to the head, dropped the guy, knee to the face, out. Was like, yep. Boom, got arrested. He paid $8,000 or something and did like 72 hours in jail. I mean, it was legit. Like, and he talks about it. I mean, just to show you like a different, and that's why like his attitude. I talked to him about it. And he's like, yeah, the guy crossed the line and I had to put him down. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that's an awesome story. By the way, it gives me like a for real like, fuck, Mike, you're the man. But let's face it though. That wasn't the right move as far as before you do it.
Yeah. I mean, you're right, because we don't know what could have happened.
Yes.
We know what the actual outcome was, and it was like $8,000.
Yep.
And
his wife? Girlfriend. Okay.
Just his girlfriend. Yeah. Don't mess with Mike's girl, man.
Well, I'm just saying, if you have a wife and then on top of that, if you have like a kids, the $8,000 scenario seems more detrimental.
Yeah, that's true. But, so I'm saying, this is why you treat people with respect.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you never know who you're messing with. And Mike doesn't look like he's a big, intimidating guy by any chance. What does he weigh? 170?
I'm thinking of a different guy. I realize it, but
Mike's 170. He's tough. He's a tough bastard too. I mean, on the mat, he's tough. Yeah. But he's like 170. And you know what? He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, really good with the gi, and he wrestled. Like he wrestled in high school. So yeah, and he trained Muay Thai. So he's just a tough dude.
Yeah.
and you don't know who you're messing with, and boom. But the interesting thing is, and you know this, I know this, when you make eye contact with another person in a situation like that, you already know if they train or not.
Yep.
You're like, oh, this guy trains for sure. I'm in for it. You know, it's gonna be on.
Yeah.
That's awareness from the training.
Yep. But still, awesome story. Don't do that.
Yeah, I know. Don't do what Mike did.
Yeah. But Mike, keep it up though. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, Mike, don't do it again. Yeah, don't mess with Mike's girl.